Fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests. To start, who here has traveled in Alberta? Few of you? Well, I'm fairly new to BC, and I drove out here last September with my aunt. And the first things we went and we decided we're going to do some scenic traveling around. And we're out on Vancouver Island. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I laid down to go to sleep this one night. And the backs of my arms were hurting so badly. Like, what is the deal with this? Well, I realized that in BC, there's all these twists and turns and twists and turns and twists and turns. Your arms get a complete workout driving in BC. Now, the comparison in Alberta is we have wind in Alberta. So you grip the wheel and you hold. It's just a totally different, you're using different muscles. I was like, oh, isn't that interesting? Didn't really consider that before. Then the other thing I was finding, we're, as I say, out on the island, and my aunt, she says to me, she's like, what do you mean you don't know what the speed limit is? I'm like, it's changed 10 times in the last 3 miles, I swear. I don't know if I'm supposed to be going 80 or 30 or 40 or what. The difference in Alberta, that comparison, in Alberta, if you miss the sign, you won't know because you're going to get one speed post-it as you're leaving a major corner, a major town, and you're not going to see another speed sign for miles until you get to the next town or the next intersection. So I thought, oh, that's kind of an interesting comparison. My daughter, she went to get her BC driver's license first. And she was asking them there, she's like, do people get speeding tickets in BC? And the lady's like, oh, yes, they most definitely do. And my daughter's like, okay, I was starting to feel a little invincible because she's like, I'm driving along and I'm realizing I'm 10 and 20K over the speed limit and people are passing me like left and right. She's like, I can't keep up with anybody. I was like, oh, interesting. The comparison in Alberta, what we always find is as soon as we come out of the mountains and we're coming out into those prairies, is we're coming up on this car that's putzing along. They're about 10 under the speed limit. And you'll notice you're like, oh, it's a white and blue license plate. And you say to your friend, what do you think? It's BC or it's Ontario? Because both of them drive slow in the prairies. Not too sure why. Or like, are you scared of those big open ditches? There's no like steep mountains or dead killer drop-off cliffs. That's when you would be set to drive as fast as you want when you've got all of this open space. You can pretty much hit those ditches and a whole lot safer than going off of a cliff. I just thought it's quite interesting because you think I'm still in the same country, but it's not really that far away. But I just was like, I found that to be a very interesting comparison between those two. And that was kind of was my story. I don't know if it's to time, but that's it for this evening. Thank you.